Hello, my name is Tim Lahili, and in this video we're going to be going over Quincy's ECA capabilities and the ECA workflow put together in this login tool right here. Hello, my name is Tim Lahili, and in this video we're going to be going over Quincy's ECA capabilities. We're going to access them through this login button right here. It's important to note that, of course, you can get to all these same capabilities through the desktop, but in the desktop, you load them sort of in the raw sense without the proper workflow wrapped around them, and you load a lot of stuff you might not want. So we're going to go ahead and go straight into ECA, and then we'll explore the functionality there, and hopefully you'll get a good idea of how it works. Okay, so we've logged in, and let me explain the hierarchy of the logic before we sort of start clicking around. The first sort of point of hierarchy is clients. Everything really should be associated with a client. It is in fact possible to get media into the tool without associating with a client, but it's not recommended. So you have clients. Clients in turn have media. Media in turn consists of evidence, and evidence gets processed into cases. In addition, you have custodians that you can associate with evidence. And that's the basic components. There are, of course, configuration capabilities here in System and Configure, and I'll show you what those are for, but those are really largely related to adding additional fields to some of these other sort of core components. So I'm going to go ahead and create a client. We're going to call this the test demo client, and we'll just save that. And you can, of course, delete clients if you want just by clicking on the delete. You can edit attributes of them if you want as well just by clicking there. I'm not going to bother with any of that. That's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory stuff. But the first thing I do want to do is go ahead and click on the client I just created. And you'll see all the evidence got removed because there's no evidence, there's no media, excuse me, yet associated with this client. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do first media. And we're going to give it a barcode, which may or may not be important to your workflow process. And you can go ahead and print out the barcode if you want to by clicking there. Now let's go find the media. And we're going to go in here. And, oops, sorry, click down to evidence. And we'll just do embedded docs. And we're going to go ahead and select. And you can see you can process in files or folders, which is just sort of a catch-all. Disk images or image folders that contain many images, but files and folders appropriate for this evidence. And we're going to go ahead and save this now. And you'll see it's going to pop up over here once it's fully saved. Okay, there you go. I had to refresh, but it popped up. All right, now that we've got our media saved, we want to go ahead and process that media and find what's in that. To do that, we go ahead and click to evidence. And it's going to proactively ask me, do I want to process this, preview this evidence? If you say cancel, you can still do it from within the evidence tab, but we're just going to go ahead and say okay because we want to do that. And it's going to begin the process of previewing the evidence. As the various stages of preview occur, they will be recorded here. It's been submitted. The next stage will be in progress and then finally completed. But I'm going to sort of zip the video ahead to when it's completed so we don't have to sort of sit here and wait. Okay, you can see it completed because it just says it's completed, but also because this arrow has appeared here. We can click down to see what's in it. Obviously, embedded docs was what we processed. You can sort of keep going. This is not very exciting evidence. There's not much in it, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop because there's again not much more to expand. But we want to go ahead and assign this to a case, so we're just going to click here. See it gets added here. And now custodians. You can see we have no custodians, so let's go ahead and quickly create a custodian. So we're going to click back here, and we're going to go ahead and add and we're going to say this is custodian 1. And you have to give it both a moniker and a data source name. And you come down here and you want to also give it a client. And then that's good, and we're just going to save it. And there popped our custodian. And let's go back to evidence. Now, interestingly enough, if we click here, we still see there are no custodians. That's because they need to be created at the point of sort of adding evidence. So let's just go ahead and delete this line. Let's expand back out our evidence, sorry, and click here now. And now there's our custodian. And we can go ahead and process this into a case, but we actually don't have any cases. So we're going to need to go to cases now, which, by the way, we should have done all this sort of proactively, but I'm just trying to walk through the logic. So let's create a case, and we'll do demo case 1, and let's save that. And creating a case takes a little bit. Fortunately, you don't have to do it all that often, but there you go. Popped up, our case is created. Now let's go back to evidence, and hopefully we don't have to recreate this, but let's see. Target case, perfect. Demo case 1. If we had a bunch of different cases, they'd be here. Processing options, we only have basic expansion. I'm going to show you how you create your processing options. This was just one I created, but you could have many of them. Let's go ahead and process. It's going to say saving media info. It's going to, first it needs to export this evidence. It's going to export this evidence into this case, into the case folder, and then it's going to process it into the case. So we need to wait a little bit. If you want to see progress, you can go into cases, and then you can go to jobs, click on your case, and then refresh. Excuse me, first right click and show all jobs, and then so you see how it says export still running? That means it hasn't yet started the case specific job, so you're just going to have to wait it out. It shouldn't take too long, but it's an export job, so depending on your evidence and the size, it could take quite a while. In this case, it'll probably only take about a minute, but we'll wait it out here a second. Okay, finally the export stopped running, and I was able to refresh the grid again, and now you can see it's processing that evidence into the case. So we need to just wait for that. You can get some information. So it'll update every 2 minutes, but you can get some information on what's going on. We really haven't done much at all at this point. So again, I'm just going to pause the video and wait till it's finished. Which should be about a minute or, well, no, probably more like 5 minutes. Okay, the processing of evidence completed, and you can see how many objects it enumerated and indexed. If there was an error, you could see it in the error log. Let's go ahead and do QC now. This is the best place to get a sense of what kind of evidence we've got. You can see these are all the objects we've processed, and it gives you basic searching capability, the ability to label, as well as the ability to sort of sort your evidence by the various categories that got processed out. It's all basic functionality within Quincy, so if you're looking for how any of this operates, there's lots of videos on the filtering and the grid capability within Quincy and all the options available to you. And then the same is true about exporting. Once you create a label and you've got a group of documents you want to export, you can go ahead and export. Let's just do that really quickly because I think it's worthwhile. We're going to create a label. We'll call it demo label. Save that. Okay, the tag's created. It should be there now. Yes, it is. Let's just select a few docs here. Let's do that. And then let's go ahead and label those. We've got the label checked, and we click label. Do we want to keep family together, link files? None of that. I don't want it to ask again either, so I'm just going to go ahead and click that. Give it a second. Let's refresh. And there you go. It's labeled that document. I think we checked more. Let me double check what's going on here. Let's check a couple and do that again. There we go. Oh, better. I must have selected off or done something wrong. I don't know. But it's labeled them all. We refresh here. That highlight there, that red, means that there's a potential mismatch between what's on your grid and in your database. That's because, of course, we're able to update the local grid instantaneously, but labeling job is a job, and it runs at a certain speed. For a few records like that, it's instantaneous, nothing to worry about. But let's say you were labeling all 957 documents. That has some time associated with it. So you just need to be alerted to the fact that there is some time. But okay, so we've got our documents labeled. Now let's go to export. And we're going to say Bob, and we want to export to somewhere, and we'll just export to I guess evidence. I don't know that I even set up an export directory. There's not one set up, but we'll just do that. That's fine. And the path must not exist, meaning we must give it a unique name. Call it Bob there. And let's just export natives, but you can see there are all sorts of next export options here. Depending on what you want, they should all be available. There, we're going to go select those four, and we just want to export native files. And again, lots going on here. There are videos on how it all works on the Quincy Forensics website, but I'm just going to go ahead and just click go. And it's submitting the native export, and you can see the status of that by coming back to jobs, but there's also this status section. And you can see it's on stage 1 of 5. And an export job generally, depending, again, totally varies depending on how much you're exporting, but in this case, only 5 documents, probably takes a minute or two. There's a lot of setup and teardown associated with these jobs. So exporting 4 may take a minute or two. Exporting 400 may take 3 minutes. Do you know what I mean? There's real economies of scale there. So, but anyway, again, it's system dependent and evidence dependent. All right, boom. Pretty quick. It exported all 5 of 5, and you can see what it did, and anything you're interested in finding out. And then if I go to that file structure where we exported it, you'll find the export. So let's just quickly do that. You see our Bob, and then quite a lot of clicking, but there are the items we just exported. Anyway, that's sort of the gist of it. Let me show you a few other cool capabilities. We talked about custodians already. Let's talk about system. This will just show you whatever active jobs there are running in the system, as well as whatever jobs might be queued. There are none in this case, so nothing really to talk about. And then configure. Remember, we created media, and we created clients, and we created processing options. All those things can be augmented here. If we want specific values that we want somebody to enter when creating a client, we can sort of say, yes, we're going to call this new field, and the help text is going to be enter data and of type text, and we're going to require it, and we're going to save that. Now when they create a client, they're going to have to enter this information. And the same sort of thing is true with media. We'll call this new media field and enter data. I'm not going to bother fixing spelling errors. You can do a radio value, you can do a number, date, whatever. I'm just going to leave it text again and make it simple. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then before I sort of do the reveal on those things, let's show you how to create processing options. You do that by clicking here, select refinement. And it shows all the different processing options we have, and you can see there are just tremendous variety of processing options. Too much here to explain. Again, videos on this, so go refer to it if you're interested, but we'll just do a simple one, flag bag extensions, click OK. We're going to name it bad etc, etc. I don't know why I called it that, but there you go, bad etc. Next time you want to process, that option will be there. And so now let's quickly do a little bit of a reveal here. So let's create a new client. You can see that new field, and there's the star there that says it's required. And so when you create this client, you're going to have to enter this for it to create, and you can see when I hover over it, it says enter data, which was the comment we gave it here. The same is going to be true for media now. You can see new media field. It's required. When I hover on it, it says enter data with my misspelling there, and you're going to need it to create the data, to create the media, excuse me. Anyway, that's the overview I wanted to give you. Hopefully that gets you started and playing. If you have any questions, post them on the message board as always, and good luck, and thank you for your time.